What does it really cost to become one of the most recognizable people on the planet? Not the money, not the fame, but the pressure, the scrutiny, and the moments no camera was ever supposed to see. When Beckham, Netflix's 4-part documentary series, premiered in October 2023, many expected a polished celebration of a football icon. What they didn't expect was a deeply human story that peeled back decades of celebrity, controversy, ambition, and vulnerability. Almost overnight, the documentary dominated conversations online, across sports media, pop culture circles, and even among people who had never watched a single football match. So why did Beckham resonate so strongly? And why are people still talking about it? That's what we're diving into today. To understand the impact of this documentary, you have to understand the scale of David Beckham's fame. Beckham is not just a former professional footballer, he is one of the first true global sports celebrities of the modern media era, rising to prominence in the 1990s as part of Manchester United's legendary Class of '92. Beckham became known as much for his precise right foot as for his distinctive hairstyles and tabloid presence. By the early 2000s, he was captaining England's national team, winning league titles across Europe, and appearing on magazine covers around the world. His marriage to Victoria Adams, better known as Posh Spice from the Spice Girls, fused sports and pop culture in a way few couples ever had before. Yet Beckham doesn't begin with trophies or glamour. It begins with childhood. The documentary grounds itself in David Beckham's upbringing in Leytonstone, East London, portraying a working-class family deeply passionate about football. Through archival footage and interviews with his parents, the series shows how Beckham's father, Ted Beckham, nurtured his son's obsession with the sport. This grounding matters because it frames everything that follows. Beckham's relentless drive, his sensitivity to criticism, and his hunger for validation all trace back to these early years. The documentary makes it clear that this wasn't just a talented kid who stumbled into fame. This was someone shaped by expectation long before the world was watching. One of the reasons Beckham sparked such widespread discussion is its willingness to revisit moments that were deeply painful, not just professionally but emotionally. Chief among them is the 1998 FIFA World Cup. During England's match against Argentina, Beckham was sent off after reacting to a foul by Diego Simeone. England went on to lose the match in a penalty shootout, and Beckham became the national scapegoat. The documentary does not rush past this. Instead, it lingers on the aftermath, the effigies, the death threats, the relentless tabloid headlines, and the psychological toll it took on a 23-year-old athlete. What makes this section particularly powerful is how honestly Beckham speaks about it. He describes feeling isolated, ashamed, and mentally broken, emotions that were rarely discussed by male athletes at the time. The documentary contextualizes this moment within the media culture of late 1990s Britain, where tabloids wielded enormous power and mental health was rarely part of the conversation. For many viewers, especially younger ones, this segment reframed a moment they knew only as a sports headline into a case study of public shaming and its consequences. Another major reason the documentary captured attention is its portrayal of David and Victoria Beckham's relationship. Celebrity couples are often presented through carefully controlled images, but Beckham allows space for imperfection. Victoria's interviews are candid, sometimes humorous, and occasionally confrontational. One of the most talked about moments in the series is when Victoria describes her upbringing as working class, only for David to interrupt from off camera and challenge to admit that her father drove her to school in a Rolls Royce. The exchange went viral not because it was scandalous, but because it felt real. It was a rare, unscripted glimpse into a marriage that has endured extraordinary pressure. The documentary also examines how Victoria Beckham was treated by the media in the early 2000s. As David's fame grew, so did the scrutiny on her appearance, parenting, and career choices. Beckham highlights how she was often portrayed as cold or controlling, narratives that persisted despite little evidence. By giving Victoria space to reflect on those years, the series contributes to a broader cultural reassessment of how women in the public eye were treated during that era. This aspect of the documentary resonated strongly with viewers who recognized similar patterns in how other female celebrities were judged. From a storytelling perspective, Beckham benefits from exceptional access. Directed by Fisher-Stevens, the series draws on hundreds of hours of archival footage, including home videos, behind-the-scenes sports clips, and candid media moments. This archival depth allows the documentary to move fluidly between public spectacle and private life. We see Beckham lifting trophies, but we also see him icing injuries alone. We see roaring stadiums, and then quiet hotel rooms. This contrast reinforces one of the documentary's central themes: fame amplifies everything, including loneliness. The series also explores Beckham's controversial move to Real Madrid in 2003 and his later transfer to LA Galaxy in 2007. These decisions were often framed by critics as prioritizing celebrity over competition. Beckham revisits those narratives with nuance. At Real Madrid, Beckham struggled initially but eventually earned respect through discipline and work ethic, culminating in a La Liga title in his final season. In the United States, his move to Major League Soccer was mocked by some as a retirement plan, yet it ultimately transformed the league's global visibility. The documentary provides context for how radical the LA Galaxy move was at the time. MLS was still fighting for legitimacy, and Beckham's arrival brought unprecedented media attention. Attendance spiked, television deals expanded, and international players began to view the league differently. While Beckham acknowledges the financial incentives, the series makes a strong case that his impact on American soccer was both deliberate and lasting. This reframing has led many viewers to reconsider a chapter of his career that was once dismissed. Another reason Beckham generated so much conversation is its exploration of masculinity and emotional expression. Beckham openly discusses crying, insecurity, and the need for approval, traits that were often weaponized against him during his playing days. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Beckham's fashion choices and emotional openness made him a target for homophobic abuse in stadiums and media alike. The documentary addresses this head-on, showing how rigid expectations of masculinity shaped public perception. By revisiting these moments through a contemporary lens, Beckham aligns with ongoing cultural conversations about mental health, vulnerability, and the cost of fame. Viewers have noted that the documentary feels less like a traditional sports biography and more like a character study. It doesn't shy away from Beckham's flaws, including his admitted obsession with perfection and control, which sometimes strained his relationships. This honesty is a significant reason why the series feels credible rather than promotional. Critically, Beckham was well received. Reviewers praised its emotional depth, narrative structure, and refusal to reduce its subject to a brand. While some critics noted that the series is inevitably sympathetic to Beckham, given his involvement as an executive producer, most agreed that it offered more introspection than expected. For audiences fatigued by glossy celebrity documentaries that feel like extended press releases, Beckham stood out. Social media played a major role in amplifying the documentary's impact. Clips, quotes, and moments were widely shared, sparking debates about class, privilege, media ethics, and mental health. Younger viewers, many of whom knew Beckham only as a fashion icon or club owner, discovered the intensity of his football career. Older fans revisited memories with a new understanding. This cross-generational appeal is rare and speaks to the documentary's broad emotional reach. Perhaps the most important reason Beckham has everyone talking is that it taps into a universal experience, the desire to be understood. Despite extraordinary success, Beckham's story is framed around insecurity, resilience, and the search for validation. The documentary suggests that fame does not insulate people from pain, it often magnifies it. That message resonates in a media landscape increasingly aware of the psychological toll of visibility. In the final episode, the focus shifts to legacy. Beckham reflects on retirement, family, and his evolving identity beyond football. The series does not present neat conclusions. Instead, it leaves viewers with a sense that Beckham is still negotiating who he is without the structure of professional sport. This open-endedness is another reason the documentary feels authentic. Life, it reminds us, rarely wraps itself up in perfect endings. So why does this celebrity documentary matter? Because it challenges the idea that we already know the people we see everywhere. Beckham demonstrates that even the most photographed individuals in the world can remain fundamentally misunderstood. By combining rigorous archival research, candid interviews, and thoughtful direction, the series offers more than nostalgia. It offers insight. As audiences continue to debate, quote, and revisit Beckham, its lasting impact becomes clearer. It's not just a story about football or fame. It's a story about pressure, identity, and the human cost of living under a microscope. And that's why it has everyone talking. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more thoughtful breakdowns of the stories shaping pop culture, sports, and media, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep bringing you researched, engaging content that goes beyond the headlines. Stay connected, because the next story everyone's talking about might be closer than you think.